I always thought my life was pretty normal, just a regular 15-year-old guy trying to survive high school without losing his mind. I had friends, decent enough grades, and a mom who worked way too much but always made time for me. She was genuinely awesome. She played video games with me, watched horror movies, and let me eat cold pizza for breakfast. If I asked nicely, it had always been just the two of us for as long as I could remember. My dad left before I could even talk, and my mom didn't really date anyone seriously, so I got used to the idea that our little world was complete, just the way it was. But everything changed on one random Wednesday. The day started with me oversleeping, spilling milk all over my hoodie, missing the bus, and walking to school under a cold, relentless rain. When I finally dragged myself into class, I just sat down and tried to disappear inside my hoodie. The lesson was taught by Ms. Hernandez, my history teacher, strict but brilliant, with this calm, piercing gaze that could freeze time. There was always something mysterious about her, like she had lived a dozen secret lives before becoming a teacher. I respected her, but never thought about her outside of class. Not until the day she stopped me after the bell and said she wanted to send greetings to my mom. I froze, confused, and then she added that she'd be seeing her on Friday, and winked. Yes, she actually winked. At first, I thought it was some weird adult joke I didn't get, but when I got home and told my mom, she paused for a moment, then let out this awkward little laugh and said she had been meaning to tell me, and then she dropped 5 words that completely rewired my brain. She said she was dating Ms. Hernandez. I couldn't even process it. My mom and my history teacher, together, like an actual couple, not just friends, but in a real relationship. At first, I didn't know how to feel. It wasn't that she was a woman. I didn't care about that. Love is love, but she was my teacher, the person who gave me homework and marked my tests. And now she was sitting on our couch, watching movies with us, and eating dinner at our kitchen table. Everything felt painfully awkward. I couldn't even look her in the eye without imagining her grading my essays while sipping tea in our living room. But then something strange started to happen. I began to see her differently, not as a teacher, but as a real person. She turned out to be funny and weird and full of wild travel stories. She knew more about video games than I did and made my mom laugh in a way I hadn't heard in years. But of course, it didn't stay easy. People at school started noticing things. Someone saw her giving me a ride when my mom's car broke down, and rumors exploded like fireworks. Whispers turned into dumb jokes. Stuff like me getting straight A's because I had 2 moms now. I tried to ignore it, but one day I found a note in my locker that said, "Freak Family," in scribbled black marker. I crushed it in my hand, heart pounding, and something ugly began to grow inside me. Anger, confusion, and for some reason I started blaming my mom, like if she hadn't dated my teacher, none of this would have happened. One night we were all watching a cheesy romantic comedy, and something in me snapped. I stood up and yelled at them, said I hated all of it, said they ruined everything, and I just wanted things to go back to how they were. My mom looked like I had slapped her. Ms. Hernandez didn't say a word. She just quietly got up and left. My mom came to my room, sat on my bed in silence for a while, then said it was hard for her too, that she had been alone for so long, and that with Elena, yes, now just Elena, she felt like she was alive again. That maybe it wasn't perfect, maybe it was complicated, but it was real, and she deserved to be happy, just like I did. The next day, things got worse at school. Someone drew a cartoon of me with 2 moms and taped it to the hallway wall. Everyone laughed. I stood there, fists clenched and breath shaking. But then someone ripped it down and tossed it in the trash. Without a word, it was my friend Marcus. He looked at me and said, "People just talk because their own lives are boring." And somehow that tiny act hit harder than any speech ever could. That night I went to my mom and apologized. Then I called Elena, told her I was sorry. She said she understood and missed our Mario Kart nights. Slowly, things began to settle into place. We made rules. No talking about school at home. No kissing in front of my friends. And no grading my essays at dinner. Eventually, people stopped caring or just got bored of the story. And I became just me again. Not the guy with 2 moms. And something inside me shifted. I began to feel like I hadn't lost anything, but had actually gained something rare and solid. Two strong women who genuinely cared about me, and a family that finally felt real. One night we sat around the fire pit in our backyard, roasting marshmallows and laughing under the stars. I looked at both of them and felt something warm and fierce in my chest. I wasn't ashamed anymore. I wasn't angry or scared. I was proud and I was lucky, because I realized there's no such thing as a perfect family. There's only your family. And sometimes it doesn't look like the movies. Sometimes it's weird and unexpected, but that's exactly what makes it beautiful. And I knew then that despite all the twists and chaos, I was incredibly lucky. A few months passed after that night. School became less of a battlefield. Even the people who used to whisper behind my back started treating me normally. My mom and Elena were still together, and it became part of everyday life, like it had always been this way. But I still felt like something was unfinished, like we were all walking forward while I was stuck somewhere between the past and whatever came next. Everything changed again when one evening they called me into the kitchen, sat across from me holding hands, and looked at me with serious, nervous eyes. My stomach dropped. I thought they were breaking up or someone was sick. But then my mom said that Elena had received a dream job offer in California, a teaching position at a college she had always dreamed of. It was huge, exciting, but it meant moving, leaving everything behind. Together, as a family. They said the choice was mine. If I didn't want to go, Elena would turn it down. But I saw the way she glowed when she talked about it. I saw the pride in my mom's eyes. And in that moment, I understood that family wasn't about houses, or streets, or schools. Family was about who stands beside you when everything shifts. And if they were willing to start over for me, I could do the same for them. I nodded and said, I'd go, just like that. No drama, because I meant it. Saying goodbye was hard, especially to Marcus. He hugged me and said he'd miss me, but now had a reason to visit California. The day we left, we stood with our suitcases in front of our house, and I looked at our old porch, the swing, the spot where we once built a snow fort, and I realized I wasn't scared. What was ahead wasn't terrifying anymore. It was thrilling. California was different. Golden skies, busy streets, new faces. But I didn't feel lost. I started a new school, made new friends, even joined a video editing club where I finally felt like I was doing something real. And mine? My mom got a job at the local library. Elena began teaching, and every night we still made pizza, argued over Mario Kart, and laughed at dumb TV shows. One evening, closer to summer, we drove out to the ocean, sat on the sand, and watched the waves crash against the shore. I looked at them both and said, I never thought life could be like this. So full of surprises, so messy, so complicated, and so real. My mom squeezed my hand. Elena wrapped her arm around both of us. And in that quiet, salty moment, I knew that everything we went through, every fight, every fear, every doubt, was worth it. And I understood something deep and lasting. Perfect stories don't exist. But if your story is written with love, then it becomes the kind of story you want to read again and again.